fact is, your shop is open 24/7, 365 days a year. So my question is, how does it actually look? Hey, it's Rich from richwellington.com, and today we're going to be talking about the actual appearance of your business out in public. Now, it doesn't matter whether you've got a brick and mortar business or whether you just purely exist in the digital space, you have to have what I like to call a great shop front. Just to give those that don't know absolutely everything about me, I'll give you a little bit of insight. You know, when I was a lot younger, over 20 years ago, I worked for the family business, and one of my jobs was to look after the shop front, you know, clean the dog shit up off the pavements, get the windows cleaned, and have the whole of the fronting of the shop completely sexied up to the max. Because we understood explicitly, you know, people that were passing by in our little town, they would want to have a nice looking shop front on their main street. But not just that, we understood that it would actually attract people in, the better it looked. And if it didn't look great and I didn't clean that dog shit up off the pavement and I didn't clean those windows, it would actually repel people. So using that same concept, and I want you to think about whether actually what you're doing in the digital space, if that's where your business is, have you got a great shop front, or are you, leaving stuff on the pavement that shouldn't be there? Is your shop sign nice and tidy? Are you going out every winter and every summer and giving the place a new, fresh lick of paint? Or are you just allowing the weather to batter and beat what's there? It looks pretty shoddy, no one's coming in. Now, some of this has to do with branding, the positioning that you have in your marketplace, but ultimately we're looking to take people that are complete strangers through to, potentially buying all of your services or all of your products. Are those strangers or those people actually going to do that if you don't have a great shop front? Yes, they might if you're arguing the toss. However, are you actually giving them the best ability or the best chance of becoming a client if you have got a shoddy shop front, a shoddy shop sign? Now, in the digital space, unlike, a typical brick and mortar business, the footfall that you can have going past your digital space is much, much higher. So the question is, do you want to be one of those online shops or those online presences that actually either has zero presence, or when people walk past, they kind of just look through the window and laugh a little bit? And then ultimately, if we're fast forwarding that very thing, are we then turning those people into, customers? Are they buying our products? Again, probably not. So I want to be able to give you, something to take away, some tips and some advice that you can actually go and action. So here's a few things you can start changing about your digital space right now. Now, this is all based upon what I like to call the top to toe principle. So that is literally working from the very top of a social media page all the way through the bottom and basically cleaning it up, tightening up things that shouldn't be there, and then putting things in place that should be there. So first example, if you start at the very top of the URL bar of your Chrome or whatever browser that you're using, and you click on your personal profile or your business page, what URL have you actually attained? So it could be john.smith.whatever, a long string of numbers. Condense that down. Try and get something that looks as neat as possible. Perhaps you are a coach, so you'd have john.smith.coach or world's best coach or something of that nature. Like I got Rich Wellington, so facebook.com/Rich Wellington. Nice and neat, nice and concise, and it ties in with the rest of the brand. Now, moving further down the page, the next thing on a Facebook page that you would come across would be the banner and their headshot. Now, sometimes when I'm looking at people's profiles, the banner or that first photo is absolutely atrocious. It tells us nothing about that person, what they do, what they're actually bringing to the world, and then their headshot is probably even worse than that, and is, they've got their fingers up, or it's just not very high quality. So the first thing you need to do at the top of the page there is to get a nice high quality headshot, and you need to improve your banner. If you've got some branding and a logo right now, match all of that stuff up, get some great colors in there, and tell the world what you're all about. Now, as you move further down the page, on the left hand side on the intro box, people put all sorts of nonsense there. So if you're currently a coach, but you've got that you used to be a head chef at McDonald's, remove that shit. You don't need it. And again, moving down using the top to toe principle, featured images. People just aren't using the featured image section. So if you're promoting something right now, definitely use that. Perhaps you've got a Facebook group. You definitely want to be promoting your Facebook group on your featured image. Do not have pictures of you out with the girls, with the boys, maybe doing naughty things that people don't want to be looking at. If you've come to the digital space to dominate and actually have a real business, then you need to have some real hard considerations about what you put out into public. Now, I'm not saying for a second that you remove your personality from your profiles, not whatsoever. Perhaps some of the things that you're considering maybe shouldn't be things that you should be doing anyway in order to forward your business and forward your life. And then one of the last things you might want to look at would be the actual connections or the friends that you've got on those said profiles. Because sometimes what I find with people is when they've got connections that don't actually resonate with the message that they're putting out on social media or in their content, they're actually afraid to speak their mind, they're afraid to put stuff out because of the criticism that they might receive from these nobodies that are on their friend list right now. So you get your shop front sorted, you take the piece of advice or the bits of advice that I've just given you, you apply it, you go do it, brilliant. Now what? Well, again, usually the typical conversation that I have with people is that they're perhaps getting bad leads or, people that are just not right for their business. They're just inquiring and asking lots of bizarre questions. And again, I don't have a belief that there's any such thing as bad leads or bad inquiries. My inert belief is that this is all purely down to bad shop signs. So if above your shop at the minute, the sign says, pink Post-it notes, that is what we sell. But actually on the inside, you sell health, you sell fitness, you sell coaching. You're going to have people coming in and they're going to be asking you for pink Post-it notes. So don't be confused when you have this random array of people coming in asking ridiculous questions. It's actually all down to you and your bad shop sign. So make it very, very clear, very explicit from the outside who you are, what you do, the problem that you solve in the world. I can guarantee the inquiries that you will get from there on in will be of super high quality. So start to treat your digital space just like as if you had a brick and mortar business. Be a proud shop owner. Turn up at the time you said you were going to be open. Turn up and serve people over your counter. Allow them to look at your products. Bring stuff down off the shelves. Showcase that stuff so people can see exactly what it is that you do. Now, if you're not prepared to do that, people will move on swiftly in the online space. There are thousands, potentially even millions of other people or businesses that offer pretty much the same thing that you do. So if you're not giving yourself the best chance right now of those people coming through the door, asking great questions because they can see what it is that you solve, so then you can turn them into a customer, or at the very least give them something for free so you are rememberable, then you are completely squashing your chances of being able to grow. Go and apply the top to toe principle. Take the little bit of advice that I've given you today. Come back, give me some feedback once you've actually done that. I can guarantee with my hand on my heart, if you do that, you take that bit of advice, tidy things up, paint your shop front, get your shop signs sorted, that you will get better inquiries from here on in and you will have better positioning with what it is that you do. I'm Rich from richwellington.com. Be good to yourself and be good to others.